Lately, my wife has been trying to convince me that we need to adopt another dog. So much so that I actually had a dream about it last night. We had rented a cabin in the middle of the wilderness and it was beautiful. And it must have been hunting season because for some reason a group of guys came by doing some duck hunting or something of that nature where they had dogs with them helping them hunt. And one of them decided they needed to give us one of their dogs. And my wife was so excited and she was begging and pleading, yes, we need to take this dog in. And I thought, this dog is an outside dog. It's meant for hunting. It's not even gonna be house trained. And I look down at the dog and he looks back up at me and he says, it's only gonna take one time. So we got the dog. Hey everybody, I'm Spartan Overdrive. Welcome back to Hybridcraft, where we try to maximize our gaming experience by using every last resource, game mode, and technicality this great game has to offer. Last episode, I left you guys hanging when we built a big custom river biome in preparation for our next big secret project. This episode, I'm going to finish detailing out that river, make a sweet double waterfall, and finally, gonna let you guys in on that secret project and take the next step to making it a reality. Oh yeah, I've got a couple new textures for you guys too. If this all sounds like a good plan to you, smack that like button and stick around for the show. If you're new and you enjoy immersive Minecraft gameplay and want to be a part of an awesome gaming community, make sure you hit that sub button and ring the bell as well so you don't miss a thing. Let's get this show on the road. Let's talk about this week's texture changes. As you can see, we are back in the desert and we are looking at sandstone again and fences. So let's, how about we talk about the fences first? Let's do that. As you can see, we've got every single one of them here, and let's go out of F5 if we can get it. There we go. And you can see in the items that they work as well. Yeah, so basically what I did is I took the plank, turned it sideways, and got rid of the lines in it. That way we don't have these horizontal lines everywhere, because I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen wood stacked on wood stacked on wood to make a vertical post like it is in the vanilla texture. So it's still a vanilla texture, it's just turned on its side and looks a little bit better, makes a little more sense in my opinion. With that being said, you will find two texture packs in the description. One of them is called Smooth Fences and one of them is called Better Fences. This is the Better Fences. Smooth Fences is the same thing, but it's smoothed out obviously, and I think it looks a little bit better. I noticed the spruce especially looked really coarse, and I never noticed that with the planks, but I see it here and I decided to smooth it out. I think both look pretty good. The smooth one, in my opinion, might be a little bit better, but I'm going to use this one because it's a little bit more vanilla. But since I made the other one, I thought I'd offer it up to you guys to use if you wanted to. Alright, so back to the sandstone. As you can see, we just placed some variants in here. We did the same thing as we did last episode, where we expanded upon variants in the grass and in stone with the help of Coop Dizzle. And this time I actually finally figured it out on my own, and I came in here and did it with the sand, and I think the sand looks phenomenal, and the sandstone as well. Now, the other thing I did, other than just variances, I actually darkened it a little bit. You can tell pretty easily that it's not the washed out white that the vanilla texture is, and no real reason behind that. I just like this. I saw that in B-Dubs. He did something very similar. This is pretty close to his, not quite the same. And I liked it a lot, so I decided to do it in mine because it doesn't take away from the vanilla experience, in my opinion. If you come over here, you can see the woods, and you can see the darker sandstone, and you can see how they interact together. So that birch wood back there still blends in really nicely with the sandstone itself. The only big difference is over here, and it's not huge, not enough for me to change it. I kind of like it, but you can see where the sandstone tops here I used as kind of a more hardened path to get back to the loo. Doesn't blend as much as natural vanilla textures, and I'm okay with that. I think it looks pretty cool. So you guys know I already adjusted the sandstone to a degree. I took away the horizontal line that goes across the top so it all blends together. That is actually a different texture pack now. It's essentially the same thing. So if you like this darker sandstone with the variants, you won't need the old one anymore. This is going to basically be the same thing plus the variants. However, I can understand if you don't like it darker. If you want the whiter version, this probably won't work for you. As a reminder, these resource packs are intended to be used as add-ons to enhance other resource packs. Since these are based off the Faithful resource pack, that's the one that will probably be benefited the most. So pick and choose which one you want to use. Add one or all. Last thing we changed here was another inspiration from B-Dubs, and it is just a less saturated or less vibrant, I guess you could say, texture for the cactus, and it's same thing. It's just like I said, a little bit more realistic, not quite as vibrant and in your face green that we had before. Let's take a look at these new fence textures in their natural surroundings. As you can see with our blacksmith here, they come together pretty well. The oak here almost looks a little bit more like a rope since it's not being split up by all those horizontal lines. And then around here we can see what the dark oak looks like. And here's the house from our very first build. You can see everything blends together a little bit nicer. This house here, you can see how the sandstone is a bit darker, but it still works really well with everything else. In fact, I think I like it a little bit better. And if fences could become trees, this is what they should look like. Finally, a little closer to our project site today, you can see in the old windmill here what these things look like. Not bad at all. So what is the big plan for today, guys? What's the big project we're doing that we built this river up for? Well, if you checked out and were observant in the last episode, I had mentioned that you might have caught on a little bit. And if you had, then you might already know what's going on. But if you look back here, some of this was in last episode. What is this indicating? Well, I think it's indicating we're going to do a lot of deforestation this episode. So if we remember, by the way, if you can tell, we are in survival. Surprise, surprise, over in Sparta, no less. Can you believe it? I think we have progressed our game far enough that we can start doing a little bit of survival over here, which was the goal to begin with, right? And so we might flip-flop back and forth between our different bases, but the whole idea with Sparta is to create this self-sufficient, reliant community that's a little bit realistic to the real world. So, we have the community over there with a few houses. We've got a blacksmith, and then I thought, man, these guys don't even have anything to eat. So we came over here and made this chicken coop, or Grotzod made that for us actually, over on Giant Monster Games. And then we decided, let's make a windmill that will process all the wheat that we have out here, and let's make it animated and move and make our world as immersive as possible. And that got the ball rolling. So here we are today thinking we're building all this stuff, right? But what are we building it out of? Well, a big majority of it is wood, right? So why don't we build ourselves a lumber mill, and why don't we go ahead and put a lot of timbers that have been torn down nearby because they're having to get that lumber from somewhere, right? So, like I said in the end of last episode, you probably saw these logs floating out here. That was the reason for it, and that was the reason we made this river the way we did. I had an idea in my head of how to do this, but I just didn't have the right landscape to do it, so we made our own landscape. And yeah, so you can kind of see what I did here real quickly. It's pretty easy stuff. We just put some logs out here, cut down some trees. These trees actually weren't here. We're in a plains biome. I planted these over here. I'm probably going to plant a lot more, but over there you can see all these trees. We're going to chop them down, and we're going to leave the stump and put in some coarse dirt around the bottom, so it looks like that's, maybe where the ground was tore up, or maybe just where there wasn't any grass because of the shade, right? And then in areas like this, I think that looks pretty cool, where you can do this kind of thing. You can't do it at an angle. I don't think it really works as well any other way. I could lay the log out here beside it, and that would look fine actually, but I think this looks really cool because that's exactly what you would expect it to look like. And being that we've only got these horizontal lines, we can't make it fall at an angle. This is kind of the best way we can present this sort of situation. So I think on a big scale, once we chop down all these trees and deforest this place, this is actually going to look kind of cool. Don't worry, they're virtual trees. We're not cutting down a big forest for real, all you tree hugging hippies out there. Don't get too upset. But yeah, your trees, your paper, all your paper bags and all that recyclable stuff, it comes from somewhere, and trees are a renewable resource, so we're gonna use them up. And what happened here? Did this... I need to knock that out maybe. Oh no, I see. So on this side it looks good. I like that. Okay, that works for me. Alright, so the idea is to put this thing right here. We're going to make a sawmill. and it is going to be powered by water. So we got the logs coming down the stream here. And then the idea originally, I kind of actually messed this up. This waterfall needs to be up here somewhere, but there's really not a good place for it because, and I may have to rethink how I do this. I'm not sure exactly, but ideally I wanted these logs to come off and then float over a waterfall and just fall off of it and then go into the sawmill. I think that would be super cool. But anyways, we may not be able to do that, but I'm going to knock this land down here, and we are going to create ourselves a little bit better environment to be able to put this sawmill right on the water. And I was inspired by a YouTube video of a real life sawmill in, I guess it was maybe Holland, if I remember correctly. And it was actually wind powered, but it was on the edge of a river like this, or a lake or something big, an ocean maybe even. And they had a windmill like this that was actually powering all the blades and doing all the work for them. And I thought, man, that was super cool. And I thought, let's do that. But we've already got a windmill doing some business over there. Let's add some more motion to our world. Let's add a water wheel over here that works. So that's what we're going to try to do. But we got to build everything else first, right? We can't. It's not going to be any fun if it's just the water wheel, just the water mill. So we got some thinking to do. How are we going to do this thing? So let me think about that. But in the meantime, I'm going to have to level all this out. And I heard you guys, this lake, or this this lake river doesn't make any sense. I agree. It flows in both directions, right? That doesn't make sense at all. But it's flowing downhill in both directions, so that makes sense, right? But where's the water source? Well, I've thought about it, and I thought we could do one of two things. We can either just say, hey, this is Minecraft, right? That's you see this little water block that falls off of a big cliff like that and falls down into nothing. Right? Where did that come from? That's come from nothing. Okay, we're talking about floating blocks here. We don't have to have everything perfect, but I do tend to try to make things as realistic as possible. I do think it makes the game more immersive and a lot more fun. So it would make more sense if this had an actual water source to come from. So technically, it would have to come from smaller streams and smaller streams and smaller streams way up in the mountain. That isn't really possible with Minecraft, not in the world we have here. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a big lake for this, I think. And I think I've got room over there somewhere. I've already been doing a lot of terraforming, trying to get Sparta ready for some real survivor building. And we'll see what that looks like. But I'm not sure if I'll get all of this done this episode, but I wanted to let you know what the future plans are so you guys could give me suggestions and stay tuned to see how we work it out, okay? So, with all that said, let's get started. Well, I was quickly modifying the rocks that we made in the last episode that held back the waterfall here because that was something I didn't have time to do then. And man, does that make a difference. Look at all that dimension with just the pressure plates alone and the buttons on the top like that. Man, it adds so much, and having just a few little plants out in front like that really makes a big difference. I really highly encourage you guys, try that out. The cobblestone probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you think of it as cobblestone. It's not something that somebody put together, handmade, like cobblestone actually would be, like a cobblestone road or something. Here we have to essentially pretend that this is something that the water has eroded away. So as you can see, I put the mossy cobblestone down near the water all around the edge here. You can see some back there under the waterfall. But all in all, even if you didn't do that, just the different layers and textures and everything working together like this looks great. Look at my hotbar right now. It is absolutely full of every single kind of stone you can get other than the bricks. So if you're making a natural stone like this, even though it's supposed to be natural, I still think that the cobble makes a huge impact. I highly encourage you, fill up your status bar like this and just go to town on these things. Well, in no time at all, we have totally devastated that ecology. Oh my goodness, if there were such a thing as forest animals in this game, they would have been wiped out. But don't worry, we're going to replace it. In fact, this is pretty barren, so once we get the sawmill built up here and figured out how we're going to do that, then we might actually rebuild some of the ground, build it back up over there, for example. And over here, I might still make some adjustments there. That goes back into the river that direction. So I might want to go ahead and build that back up at some point, or I might want to tear that down. I've thought one of the options I could have is have two entrances. I could have the sawmill, the water mill going right here, and that would provide all the power to the sawmill. And then I could actually have the logs come in over on this side through another water stream, which would, totally change this environment again. I'm not sure if I want to do that. I think it's a cool idea, but I don't want to ruin the look of this from the other side. I kind of like that, the way it's built up like it is. And I feel like I've already ruined the environment by doing that right here. I enjoy those high walls. So we will have to play around with it and see. But I came over here so you guys could kind of see the other terrain editing that I've been doing. Let's see if we can get over to a place where we can see better. But this is where I'm thinking about putting that lake. So let's see if we can come over here and see where the water is there. There's the, I made it. All right, parkour like a pro. Yeah, so this is the river here, and I'm thinking over here where we're gonna have that cliff edge that we talked about in the last episode. I'm thinking maybe what we do is we run underneath it, because that could be pretty cool. Be a cool little feature, and underneath that have the water flow and come out to this side, and then this be the lake over here. It's already recessed quite a bit, and there is a wall kind of naturally around it all the way over there, and then this here is raised up. I'd probably have to knock that down or make it an island, one of the two, I don't know. But if you look way on in the yonder there, you can see this is the blacksmith, and then I've been building up some dirt over here because that dropped off quite a bit, and I want that to be flattened out to be a good building area for us later on. And in the meantime, it ended up causing this drop off here, and that's what gave me the idea, well, maybe I can put a big lake right here, and that would be the main source of the water that we have over here, and might make you fickle people happier with the fact that we've got water flowing in that direction over there and then water flowing in this direction over here, if it all came from one source back that way with the lake. I think that would make me happier, so I'm probably going to get to doing that at some point. It just takes a long time to get all the terrain editing and all that good stuff. So right now though, our focus is let's build a watermill, sawmill situation and figure out how in the world do we want to do that exactly. Do we want to come in and around this way? Do we want all of the business to happen on this end? And then where are we going to go from there? Because out here is the sea, and I'm thinking it would be smart, and this is why I originally wanted the sawmill right about here, because the logs would fall off here, and then you could ship off, like on rafts or something, you could shift off your final milled wood, and it would go out here into the ocean, and that would be a pretty cool way to do it. But you would have to lower this quite a bit, and I don't think it would work to put it right here, so and the angle and all that stuff. So we're going to keep it there. I've already done the work to do that. So we're going to do that and then maybe have a road come over here, or we'll come up with another way to make this thing functional and make sense. So anyhoozle, wanted to kind of give you guys an update on that business and see the devastation we caused on this natural environment over here. I got it. Guys, I've been racking my brain trying to figure out how in the world I'm going to make this work, because if we're trying to be realistic, you notice this river swirls around this way and then it comes this way, right? But this over here is just going to, it's not going to flow that fast. It's going to create some kind of eddy because the river's going to naturally, the water's going to naturally go towards this runoff right here, and it's going to be slow moving water right here. In fact, when we built this thing originally, we were pretending this was the lake itself. We're going to move that over there, but still, this is not going to be a real fast current. However, I thought, well, how are we going to make that work? So I'm thinking we're gonna move the land out here. That's all I can do. I really didn't want to, but that's just all I can do, right? I think that would kind of mess up that curve. Here's what I'm going to do. Not that. I'm going to move the river, and we're going to add to it, essentially. I'm going to dig out right here, and I'm going to just make a secondary waterfall over here, let it go around this, and I think that's going to be, it's going to serve two purposes. One, it's going to make sense why the water flows quickly here, and it's going to spin this wheel like would make sense. And then secondly, it's going to create even more beauty in our little area here. You're going to have this little rock island situation, and then you're going to have a double waterfall, and that is going to look super cool. So I just had to tell you about it because I was excited, racking my brain, and came up with a solution. Oh baby, now we're talking. It looks so much better, and I think it makes a lot more sense for the function that we're going for as well. Wow at the time. As they say, it flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? It looks like we're going to have to put the lumber mill off until next episode, guys. I really want to put some quality time into it with all of you and don't want it to feel rushed by squeezing it into the end of this episode. So until then, check out the description and I'll link the video that inspired this build. It isn't gaming, but I think it's definitely worth checking out. If you have some ideas, though, let me know in the comments, or you can always tweet me at Spartan Glenn. When you're in the description, don't forget the new textures if you want those. And guys, thanks again for taking time out of your day to join me in this video. I hope you had as good of a time as I did. Hey, here's a question though. What do you guys use to help inspire more immersive gameplay in your worlds? Do you ever research external sources? What about YouTubers? Have you guys ever been inspired by anything I've done in this series? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, have a great day and keep it creative.